Larry Buklon, das Review.
Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. It's 2024. I hope you all have an awesome year. Today, I would like to celebrate by reviewing the first episode of Futurama Space Pilot 3000. Now, one of my New Year's resolutions is to do more on this channel, and that's why I'm starting off the year by doing this. And also, one of my New Year's resolutions is to not constantly ask people to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's up to you if you would like to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I can't tell you to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's up to you if you want to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I can ask you if you want to like, comment, subscribe, and share. But at the end of the day, if you want to like, comment, subscribe, and share, it's up to you. If you want to like, comment, subscribe, and share. But, yeah. Anyway, the episode kicks off New Year's Eve, 1999. Oh my gosh, what was I doing in 1999? I can't remember, that's been too long ago. Fry is explaining a video game that's in the pizzeria where he works to some random kid who's just hanging out, and Fry loses, and the kid's like, "You stink, loser!" And Fry looks so depressed, and he's like, and I'm like, why would you care what some nose-picking second grader thinks, dude? You're 20-something. That kid doesn't know anything. He's just being a kid. Anyway, his boss, Mr. Panucci, is like, "Hey, Fry, pizza's going out. Come on!" And my gosh, if this guy is making your pizza, do you really want to eat it? I mean, just look at him. He looks gross. He looks... It looks like there's nothing but sweat and body hair going into that pizza. And... yeah. I like pizza, but no thank you. The pizza bot says, "Do not tip the delivery boy." What? Man, that would not go over in today's society. Fry's biking to the spot to deliver the pizza. He sees his girlfriend in a taxi with some other guy. She looks out the window at him and says, "Fry, it's not working out. I left your stuff on the doorstep." And Fry's like, "Oh, I hate my life, I hate my life, I hate my life." He gets to the place to deliver the pizza. He chains up his bike, and as he's walking into the building, someone steals his bike, looks at him and goes, "Happy New Year." Hey, at least the guy's polite, right? Fry gets to the top of the place where apparently that's where he's supposed to deliver the pizza. I don't know. This building looks like it's abandoned, so I don't know if anyone's working there, if anyone directed him, if there's signs, if there was instructions on the note, because all the note says is the name, which is I.C. Wiener. It's a prank, and Fry's like, I thought at this point in my life, I'd be the one making prank calls. Was that your goal in high school? This place is a cryogenic lab where people go to get frozen so they can be unfroze in the future for whatever reason. And like I said, it just seems abandoned except for the people who are frozen. Fry sits down in a chair at a desk, which is just randomly in this room, and he has one of those things, not like what I have, but one of the ones that twirl. But he blows that, then he falls back, rolls into the freezer tube, and gets frozen. And he doesn't spill his beer that he has. For those who are a fan of Futurama, you would know Nibbler is actually in this scene. You can see his shadow. They knew they were going to have this little creature that was going to freeze Fry for whatever reason, and they put him in the pilot. That is crazy. Fry gets trapped inside the tube. The door says 1,000 years, so I guess that's the automatic setting, because later Leela gets trapped in a tube, and that's what it gets set to. Fry wakes up in the year 2999, and it's like, technically, it was the year 2000 when he got froze, because he was doing the countdown before he rolled. So he got unfroze about a day early, couple hours early, something like that. Anyway, there's a worker at the cryogenic lab. He goes, "Welcome to the world of tomorrow." And we find out later his name's Terry, and he just does it for showmanship. Anyway, him and some other guy show Fry where to go to get his fate assignment, which is something in the future where you get a chip in your hand that assigns you your job for life. So apparently, you can't say Star Trek in the Futurama universe in the year 302999, because Fry was about to say, because the doors, how they were opening, he's like, "Oh, like in Star Trek," and it hits him right in the face. So we find out later in the series, you cannot say Star Trek because it's forbidden. So the door stopped him from saying Star Trek, which is, I think, is a really cool joke. Fry is introduced to Leela, who he finds attractive until she turns around and he notices she has one eye. And he's like, what's with the eye? And Leela's like, "I'm an alien, okay? Can we move on?" Apparently, when you get unfrozen in this universe, there's a thing called a probulator, which I guess extracts DNA from you and does all kinds of blood tests to figure out if you have relatives, if you are good at anything. So this is how Fry finds out he has a great infinity nephew named Professor Farnsworth, who we see is an elderly man with big glasses. And this is also how they determine Fry's best job would be a delivery boy. Fry's like, "I don't want to be a delivery boy." And Leela's like, "Well, tough luck. None of us like our jobs, but we gotta do what we gotta do." She points to a poster that says that, and Fry's like, "Fine." And then she's like, "Hold out your hand." And she has this little thing that chips you. And Fry's like, "No, I don't want to do this." And he runs away, and Leela gets trapped in a tube, and it gets set for 1,000 years. But Fry, being the nice guy he is, sets it to 5 minutes. Fry runs off to explore the future world that he's in, and he notices a lot of weird stuff. He goes in this tube that goes all the way across town. He goes under the water, where he sees what I'm guessing is a descendant of Blinky from The Simpsons, because it's a fish with 3 eyes. And he's like, "Woohoo! Yeah!" And then you see people coming out of that tube and they're landing on their feet. He gets, boom, smacked into a wall. And some guy looks over and he's like, "Tourist." Which I'm guessing New York is the only place that has the tube. Maybe it's like the subway systems where it's like only in New York, LA, wherever, big cities. So Fry decides he wants to look up his nephew, Farnsworth. But he gets in line for what he thinks is a phone booth. Oh my gosh. We didn't even have phone booths in like the mid-2000s, did we? Man. Oh, for those who are like under the age of like 30, phone booths were a thing you could go to, and if you take out a quarter, later on it was like 50 cents, you can make a call. You could call somebody from like the middle of nowhere, a gas station. This phone booth, turns out it's a self-deletion machine. This is where Fry meets Bender. Bender is behind him, and Fry's like, wow, a robot! Or is that some kind of cheesy New Year's outfit? Bender says his catchphrase as his first line of the series. Bite my shiny metal. I am terrible at impersonations, so I am sorry. Fry goes into the machine. He starts pressing buttons and nothing's happening. Bender goes in and he's like, look buddy, I'm in a hurry. Let's try it for a 2-4. Bender has a quarter on a string, which if you're deleting yourself from existence, why would you want the quarter back? Because he puts the quarter in there, pulls it out, activates the machine, and Fry's like, I'd like to make a collect call. He's not listening because the machine is like, how do you want to end it? Slow and painful or quick and easy or something like that. And he's like, I want to make a collect call. And the machine responds, you have selected slow and horrible. And Bender's like, good choice. So all these weapons come out. It's like, you know, they're trying to attack and end people. But Fry dodges them. And then at the end there's a knife that does this. And it says, you are now deleted. So this kind of annoys Bender. But he's like, well, I didn't have any other plans. You want to go get drunk? And we shoot to Leela being on Froze, and then her boss telling her she needs to find Fry, and Leela's like, I don't want to because he's nobody cares. And her boss is like, well, it's up to you to do this because it's your job, and you have to do it whether you like it or not. Fry and Bender are sitting at the bar. Bender explains he's built to bend girders. That's all he's programmed to do. And he couldn't go on living because the girders were for self-deletion booths like they were just in. And he's like, well, Fry, it's been a pleasure. I'm gonna go delete myself. Fry stops him and he's like, well, you're my friend. I don't want you to do that. And Bender's like, you really want a robot for a friend? And Fry's like, yeah, ever since I was 6. Which, I kind of feel that. I wanted a robot for a friend when I was like 6, so. Leela ends up seeing Fry in the bar. Fry and Bender run to the head museum, and they decide to hide in there because it's free on Tuesday. There, Fry sees the head of Spock, Leonard Nimoy, welcoming them to the museum. And Fry wants Spock to do the thing. And Leonard Nimoy laughs and says, I don't do that anymore. And it's like, well, how can you? You don't have any arms or hands or anything. Leela tracks them down, but Fry comes up with a genius plan. They pretend to be heads in a jar. But they're not in a jar. And it's like, Leela knows what you look like, so they're just not really, you know, just sitting there like this. That's not really helping. Leela's backing Fry into the corner. Fry hits one of the shelves, knocks Richard Nixon's head down, shatters his jar, and he's like, you just made my little star. And he starts attacking Fry by biting him on the arm. And he's like, oh, no, down, bad president. And these peace officers that are with Leela, who are basically the police of that time, they grab their laser swords and they start hitting Fry and Bender. Bender is doing his best Road Warrior Hulk imitation and no selling the hits. Fry's like, ow, no, ah. Leela wants them to back off. Smitty, the human peace officer, tells her to keep her big nose out of it. Eyeball. And she's like, nobody makes fun of my nose. And she smacks Earl, the robot peace officer, and tells them they were out of line. This gives Bender and Fry a chance to run off. They go to the Hall of Criminals, where they can escape through a window that has bars. If only someone could bend the bars. Fry wants Bender to do it, but Bender says, no, I'm only programmed to do this, and that's it. So Bender turns around, goes to walk away. He gets electrocuted by a hanging light bulb, and then he's like convinced now to do this. So he bends the bars. So they make their escape. Leela says, hey, wait. I think at this point she's actually on their side. They escape to the sewer, which is old New York, where Fry used to live. And Fry's looking around. He sees where he and his girlfriend Michelle had their first date. And he's starting to get all mopey. I forgot to mention that. Earlier, when Fry first got on Frozen, realized he was in the future, he was like, I'll never see anyone I knew again. Woohoo! Now he's all mopey about it, like, oh, I'll never see anyone I knew again. So, I can't feel bad for him. Leela catches up to them, and Fry's like, oh, leave me alone. I'm sad, and everyone I knew is gone, and I don't know anybody here. And Leela's like, well, I know how you felt, because I'm the only one-eyed alien on this whole planet, and I don't know where my family's from, so I'm alone too. And Fry's like, okay, you clearly know what's going on in this world, and I don't. So, if you think this is what's best for me, chip my hand. And Leela goes to do it, but then takes out her chip, quits her job, and says she's always wanted to quit, and she never knew it until she met Fry. They share a moment which Bender kind of ruins because he puts his hand in there. He's like, I just want to be part of the moment. After this, they decide to hunt down Professor Farnsworth. They find Professor Farnsworth's place. They knock on his door, and he's like, who are you? And Fry's like, I'm your Uncle Fry. He's like, I don't have an Uncle Fry. Bender just pushes his way in. He's like, oh yeah, do now. Anyway, they go to Farnsworth's, I guess, DNA match thing. They put their hands in there, and he's like, oh, you are my uncle. This is wonderful. And, he starts showing them around. He shows them their spaceship. Fry is excited to see a spaceship. There's a knock at the door, and Smitty, the peace officer, says, we know you're in there, and we have you partially surrounded. Which, I love that line, because it's true, because you can see it's only like him and Earl and maybe two other people out there with their laser guns ready to shoot them if they blast off, which they do. Their countdown to blast off goes with the countdown to New Year's 3000. So when they blast off, there's a bunch of fireworks going off and a bunch of other stuff. Smitty and everyone else is shooting the lasers, and they're like, I can't see anything. Pretty though. Fry, while they're drifting in space, is saying, well, I guess without jobs, we'll be fugitives. Professor Farnsworth says, well, not really. And he offers them a job to be their new crew. And Bender's like, well, what happened to the old crew? And Farnsworth is like, oh, those poor sons of bitch. Well, that's not important. What's important is I need a new crew. And Leela says, well, we'd love to, but we don't have the career chips. It's like, well, I mean, I think Farnsworth, being a professor, would have thought that through. So he has the career chips. Yes, he is smart. He has the career chips. He offers them to Bender, Fry, and Leela, who accept. And Fry's like, what's my job going to be? And Farnsworth says, transport and cargo. And Fry figures it out. He's like, so I'm a delivery boy? And Farnsworth says, exactly. And Fry's like, woohoo! I'm a delivery boy. If I got froze and I woke up in a time where I could fly through space for a job, I would probably be excited about that. That was the first episode of Futurama. This is a really good show. I hope you enjoyed my review, and I hope you have a wonderful 2024. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. And as always, have a lovely day, night, evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are, whatever time it is. Have a good one. Bye. Happy New Year.